Now, we have been talking about industrialization really for the better part of the last 2 or 3 decades. So what exactly lies ahead for continental efforts to build up a collective manufacturing sector? Let's find out. Mpoko Bokanga is the UNIDO representative to Kenya, Eritrea and South Sudan, is live in studio with us tonight. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Despite the youth bulge that we see across Africa, just how competitive are African labor pools, especially with regard to pricing of labor?
Well, pricing is one thing, and skills is the other. Competitive compared to Asia and South America, it's really difficult to make the comparison. You need to look at the opportunities that are available for the youth. And I would say that with the lack of industrialization that you have in Africa, or the lower amount of industrialization, makes it there are less opportunities for African youth. And that's what needs to change. We need to increase the level of industrialization to be able to create the jobs that will be needed by the youth, the youth bulge that you are talking about.
Indeed, but Mr. Bokanga, aren't policymakers essentially jumping the gun here by talking about industrialization when the underlying enablers, the cost of capital is still quite high, infrastructure is still a mess across Africa? All these issues really haven't been sorted out. So why are we talking about industrialization before sorting out those underlying issues?
Well, you see, industrialization is a process. It's not something that will wait for this enabler to be in place for it to come. And actually, I would argue that one needs to set a target. And then having set the target, make sure that you have those enablers in place to be able to reach your target. Therefore, I don't think that the policymakers are jumping the gun. It is about time that the target be set. Africa needs to industrialize, and therefore the policymakers need to act on those enablers, infrastructure, energy, skills for the workers in order to achieve the target of creating jobs, creating wealth, and improving the livelihoods in Africa.
I'm going to frame my next argument as a zero-sum argument, Mr. Bokanga. There are those who argue that by focusing on manufacturing instead of agriculture, we're losing the plot here because agriculture is a wider employer, it's got low-hanging fruit. Perhaps we should be focusing our efforts there instead of manufacturing. Would you agree with that thesis?
Not at all. I would say here again, it's not a situation of either or. It's not agriculture against manufacturing. Actually, I would argue that we need both. Agriculture is the primary industry. It produces raw material. But you need the manufacturing to be able to add value, to create more jobs, and to contribute to poverty eradication. So it's not a situation of either agriculture or manufacturing. I think manufacturing will add value to agriculture and therefore contribute to better growth, inclusive growth, because more people in agriculture will be touched by manufacturing, more jobs will be created. And right now we are having a situation where Africa is growing fast, but based on primary commodities. And that is not benefiting Africa. But once manufacturing is kicked in, then we'll have to be able to create jobs and to create wealth for Africa.
Indeed. Finally, let's wrap up where we started earlier today. The World Bank representative in Kenya argued that there's a serious mismatch between the skills that are being produced by African economies and the skills that industries actually need. Is there continental level efforts to redress this problem?
I think that observation is absolutely correct. And the people who are being produced, or the students coming out of schools, don't have the skills that are required by industries. And you have, in many countries, efforts to remedy to that by emphasizing vocational training, by emphasizing entrepreneurship training. There are a number of programs offered by many institutions, including UNIDO, my organization. But I'm not aware of a continent-wide single program. But I know that different countries are putting in place programs to address this weakness in the workforce.
Indeed, we'll absolutely be there. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Mr. Mpoko Bokanga, UNIDO's representative to Kenya, Eritrea